just made it possible that I have a presentation here. So I'm going to talk about my crazy cases of a goofed up case of an AWR after a desmoid resection. Where is the remote?
There is a mouse.
It's a mouse?
Yeah.
Fine. So I have no conflict of interest. So this patient actually came to me with this kind of hernia, and this was a 45-year-old policeman, non-diabetic, non-smoker, BMI of 30, had a painful progressive abdominal bulge for last 10 months. Now I went into a detailed history. This man had some surgery done 10 months ago, and then immediately after surgery he started getting a progressive bulge which went on increasing, so much so that he said my pants kept on changing the size. And he said of late he had so much of discomfort that he had to take a rest, he had to leave his job as a policeman. And this is what was on a coughing, there was practically the whole abdominal wall was missing here. Going through this past surgical history, this patient had history of surgery for abdominal wall desmoid 10 months ago. Now this is the images of the CT scan which was earlier done for the desmoid, and you can see a desmoid which is in the central abdomen and it is occupying some part of the rectus, posterior rectus sheath and the anterior rectus sheath. So the wide excision was done by an oncosurgeon, and on a frozen they found that the margins were clear by about 2 centimeters. The histopathology confirmed it was a desmoid fibromatosis. This patient was then, they called upon a plastic surgeon to close the abdomen. He used a bio-designed mesh of 15 by 13 centimeter as an inlay, and then he just rotated a flap of a skin flap on the transposition flap by the plastic surgeon. So this was the past history when he came to me. The bio-designed mesh that he used is one of the very few biological meshes that we have in India, and that he used as an inlay for this kind of a problem. So this was a CT scan that I repeated, and now this CT scan is showing, you can see that the stomach is bulging, very little part of the left rectus is, right rectus is almost not there, and you can see something suggestive of a mash which is still alive at the end of 10 months, and there are dense adhesions of the intestines with it. So this was the sagittal view, and there again we can see some bulge and some whitish mash over there with the bowel adhesions. So naturally this was not a very straightforward case, and whenever I am in difficulty I go to hernia collaboration. So I posted this case, and I tagged few people who are all the great gurus of IHC. The first this thing came from a son. He just told me he's a young guy and therefore he deserves a definite repair, and he suggested he would do a bilateral TAR. And he also talked about the Botox if patients can afford it. Miguel, he again talked about the TAR, and he talked about the medium weight polypropylene mesh in this, and not the heavy weight polypropylene mesh. Joe Deca, he said that the restoration of midline looks impossible, and therefore you will have to bridge it in some manner. It will be an open surgery, release the components, and you will have to bridge maybe posterior also with the vicryl mesh and anterior also with the heavyweight polypropylene mesh. Professor Yuri Novitsky, he just said it looks easier, and he just boosted my confidence. So eventually I decided to take up this. So first thing that I did, I injected a Botox in his lateral muscles, and I planned my surgery 6 weeks after the Botox was injected. And I could find that the things had become little supple, though I did not repeat the CT scan. And then I posted him for surgery. Now this is the incision that he had on his abdominal wall because of that flap which was being done. So therefore I definitely can't take a midline incision. So I called that same plastic surgeon to help me out, and then we went ahead with the surgery. So we took an incision along the line of the flap and we started raising it. What we found, there was a very, very dense adhesion with the flap. So the transverse columns are practically plastered with it. So also few loops of small bowel, and at many places it was very bad, densely adherent. So we could ultimately do an adhesiolysis without enterotomy, but we narrowly missed few enterotomies, few serosal tests that were sutured up. Then a bilateral transverse abdominal release. Now that was a challenge because already this area was violated by somebody else, and this was something like a redo thing. So we started from the lower part, which was untouched. It was a virgin area, and I started doing a bottom-up TAR in a Madrid method. And then Cephaloid I started way up into the diaphragm because a lot of things was missing. Surgery had started way up. Therefore, I started from the diaphragm onwards and then moved slowly down. And then in between, I had to just join both the planes. And at many places, I tore the posterior rectus sheath and the peritoneum. But still, I could manage to close the posterior rectus sheath. So posterior fascia was closed completely. And then I put in a 50 by 50 medium weight polypropylene mesh. And my dissection has gone all across, so therefore I could easily put the almost entire mesh with very little trimming and almost did a giant prosthetic reinforcement of visceral side. Now came the question of anterior fascia. So anterior fascia was quite far apart. So when I measured it, it was going almost 20 centimeter apart. So I then started suturing it. And then I realized that I'm going to bridge it. So I put in another piece of mesh of 30 by 30 centimeter, and eventually I had to bridge 8 by 6 centimeter of the area. The unclosed anterior fascia was then sutured to the superficial mesh that was put on the top of it. At 10 months follow-up, this happened just before I came over here. So he came to me, these are the pre-operative and these are the post-op. So the bulge had definitely gone. And this is his lateral view where again the bulge is gone. I repeated the CT scan, and this is the on a head raising test and coughing on this side, there was no bulge. So therefore the surgery had acted well, and he's got a functions also back. At the repetition of the CT scan, so this is pre-op and post-op CT scan. You can see that this the midline reconstruction is holding up, and you can see a piece of mesh over there. And similarly on the lateral, on the sagittal structure, again you can see that there is no bulge happening and it is going very well. So thank you so much.
Very nice, thank you.